You got one, so sweet, so sweet. Move off your feet, move your feet, feet. Strawberry, strawberry, strawberry. Strawberry, strawberry, strawberry.
Hi, I'm Kevin Matthews, Scottish film fan living in England, and this week I got the fear. I got the fear that movie collectors get when I'm about to leave my home for just a few days and have received email notifications of deliveries due from America, from Australia, and from other outlets that I pre-ordered from ages ago, thinking I would be in to receive all of my post.
Ooh, yeah, that. I'm Dave Gray, and this week I learned that it's going to be shockingly easy to steal Kevin's mail this week.
Wait, no.
just the Australian package. I've never had a package from Australia.
I have very nosy neighbours. You wouldn't want the package from Australia. It's that 4-pack with the Hell House LLC movies in it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. Well, fuck you, Australia.
They've announced a 5th one, so that box set will be outdated within a year.
Isn't there a TV series coming also? I'm going to give them credit for Hustle. I just wish the movies were better.
They really work well for me. I can, obviously, with those kind of movies, I can always see why people wouldn't like them, but I think they're really well put together for those kind of movies, and they're actually really creepy for me at times. That last one they did, the prequel spin-off thing, the Carmichael Mansion, that was freaking me out. I don't understand how folk could get freaked out by, say, Art the Clown and not want to see these scary clowns be a lot scarier.
I didn't see that one. I hated 2 and 3 so much I kind of gave up before 4.
Yeah.
Oh my god, 3, that fucking ending, man. What the fuck was that shit? Now our camera's in heaven. Fuck you. Sorry. Anyway, you were saying?
No. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it to you, obviously, but I was surprised by how good it was, and it really worked for me. Tyler, did you see the 4th one?
I have not. I don't think I've seen any of those.
All right, okay.
You dig the first one. I think after that it might get a little iffy for you also, but you would like the first one.
Yeah, I've actually never sat down and watched any of those, even though there's there was a trilogy now. I can't believe there's 4 movies of those.
4.
Yeah, I can't believe there's 4 movies of those now. It's crazy. I'm Tyler Hosley, and this week I learned that Craig is actually the master at finding the most anti-me movies ever, and I can't even be mad at such a talent. So just bravo, sir. Bravo.
He is. I've tried to hurt you, and you liked the movies when I picked them. I mean, it's just... God, I need to study his ways.
You know, there's so many, better, quirky movies out there. Like, pick Napoleon Dynamite. At least that one's kind of funny, you know? Just, God. I haven't really been watching that many.
Hey, you forgot something.
Oh, and this is Raiders of the Podcast.
Yay! Yeah, there you go. You always forget that. It's only been 7 years.
I know. You would think I know by now, but I haven't really been watching that many movies. I've barely been watching anything horror related in October. It's a shame. I have been watching a lot of TV shows though. I finally started the Girlfriend Experience, the TV series. I love the Soderbergh movie. It's probably one of my favorite Soderbergh movies. The show is fantastic. Riley Keough is amazing in season 1. You guys know how much I dig her. I love Riley Keough. I just adore her. But she's great in season 1. Apparently season 2 and 3 are just different actresses. I guess that they're little miniseries in 3 seasons. So looking forward to seeing the rest of that. But season 1 is great. And besides that, I've been watching the newest season of Outer Banks. I think it's season 4 on Netflix. It's not quite as good as the previous 3 seasons, but it's still really good so far. The cast is still great. That's a really good show. And if you haven't watched Outer Banks, I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, check it out.
But, have you seen Blood and Water?
Blood and Water. I don't think I have.
I know I've recommended it to you before, but it's been a while. You will dig the crap out of that. I'm just letting you know. It's a South African series.
Is it like an Outer Banks type show?
Yeah, but like it's set in South Africa, so everything is far more, much higher stakes than Outer Banks.
Well, less Hollister looking. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, they're pretty fucking Hollister looking, honestly. But it's a good one. It's about a girl trying to prove that someone else in her school is her abducted sister.
Oh, nice.
It's good. You'll dig it.
I'll check it out. I've been watching a lot of TV lately, so yeah, I'll definitely check that out soon. But yeah, that's me.
I watched more. I just don't want to talk about a lot of them because they weren't great. I did watch the new Time Cut on Netflix, and well, it sucked. It has moments and ideas that should have been a lot of fun, but there's been that whole slew of time travel films, horror slashers. They're all made by the same people because Christopher Landon was a producer on this, and it's written by the same guy that wrote, I don't remember if he wrote Freaky and Totally Killer or One of the Happy Death Days and Totally Killer, but he wrote, 2 or 3 of them, and it's just like you're tapped out. They're tapped out and there's nothing good or new about it. There's no good kills. The sound, okay, if you really need a deep, the 2003 soundtrack, then you can watch it because that's like it. It's got a bunch of 2003 songs. You're gonna be like, oh, I fucking love this song. You're like, yeah. But I don't recommend it overall. It's just the characters aren't characters. Most people that show up are obviously background and don't mean anything, which makes the whole mystery and reveal kind of like, well, yeah, no shit. When they finally get to it, it's there. You can do so much better, and you should watch better. You should like yourself more. I watched We Should Do Something, which is a horror movie set in a bathroom, and it sucked. You can tell it was a short story that got stretched way too thin. And that's the problem. If this was a 15-minute short, it could have been a lot of fun. But instead, it's an hour and 50, and it's just not enough for it. What else did I watch? I watched other things that I just I can't remember because they weren't good enough to remember, and they weren't bad enough to be angry about.
I really liked We Should Do Something.
I'm not surprised.
It is slight, but I don't know. I think it worked well for what it was doing.
Yeah, but I mean, there's just too much of it. Again, if this was a 20-minute short, yeah. But how long did we have to watch Dad be emotionally abusive in the bathroom for? Come on. At least give me something around it more than just that.
Did you see Glorious?
No.
The movie from a couple of years ago.
No, not that I can recall.
I think you would think that that's the better locked in a bathroom movie. It still might overstay its welcome slightly, but I think it's just under 80 minutes or so, and it's Ryan Quanten in the lead role with the voice of J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
So you'll probably watch it and be like, "Yeah, I watched that." Shit.
I will. No, come on, give me a little credit. I will watch it with a fully open mind, and I will be as kind to it as it deserves.
Oh, God, just don't bother.
I mean, hey, at least I'll probably remember it. I can't remember. I watched 4 movies on Shudder. I don't remember at all. I watched them, and they just did not leave any impression in the few days since I saw them. So,
the thing is, unfortunately, that director of Glorious is Rebecca McKendry, who then went on to do that Elevator Game movie, which was really bad.
I watched that.
Yeah,
that's something I watched. Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
That sucked. And I watched 2 other movies that I don't remember at all. And I doubt you're going to accidentally say their titles. I don't think that's going to happen more than once.
I knew somebody had watched the Elevator Game this week. I can't recall it was you. But that was me. I'm not a sensitive soul or anything, but that also left a slightly bad taste in my mouth for what it was based on, really.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, they just didn't understand why that would be scary, so they went for here's the Ring girl. What's her name? Samara.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Samara at home, at the home elevator, and it sucked. Oh, you know what? I wasn't sure if I saw this, but it was since last time we recorded. I showed Killa, Psycho. So that was fun. But yeah, that was it. And I watched stuff that aren't worth remembering.
I'm waiting for Tyler to ask if she's a big fan of Vince Vaughn now.
Wrong Psycho. I'm just gonna put that out there right now.
You know who's waiting.
I do mention Van Sant Psycho in my review of To Die For. So,
does she like Psycho?
Yeah. I think she did for the most part. It's a little slow to get started, but once it gets started, she got into it. I think the whole I stole money bit kind of left her going, okay, and
yeah. I have well, it's weird because I schedule ahead because of my blog, because of our podcasting, because of everything. So I'm basically done with my horror viewings. Like that was done, and I'm already into Noirvember already. So that's good for me. But always seems a bit weird at the kind of crossover point. So film wise, I watched a few different things that are just kind of random. I need to firm up my thoughts on them and make sure I can remember them individually when I write the reviews for my blog. I watched 5 Against the House, which is an odd little noir with these. If I remember right, there might be like college friends. They all look as if they have a second mortgage and a second marriage at this point. But what you going to do? I mean, so did half the cast of Porky's. And one of the guys anyway comes up with a mock plan that would be the perfect way to rob a casino. And then one of the guys really wants to rob a casino. So wants to drag them into that by the finale. It was passable. It was decent. I thought the cast were okay. That's
the Kim Novak flick, right?
Thank you. I was wanting to say.
Okay.
I think Kim Novak's in it. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, like I enjoyed it, and it felt a little bit more slick and polished than some. Because I also watched a film from 1951 called The Mob, and The Mob is a tale of a cop who gets reprimanded by his boss, but it's not a real reprimand because they want to send him undercover, and he's to come back in the guise of I can't remember his first name, but it's Flynn, Tony Flynn or Tim Flynn, and make his way up the ranks, obviously to get the big baddie that they're after. Now, again, I enjoyed this for what it is, but it's one of those films that has moments that feel kind of a bit creaky, a little bit twee, and it ends in a way that's almost like one of the Police Squad episodes. You think it's going to freeze frame and other people are going to move about in the background. I was trying to remember the Naked Gun as a TV show. It was Police Squad, wasn't it? It would always freeze.
Yes, it was the Files of the Police Squad.
Yeah. So it has a kind of sudden, slightly giggly ending, and I'm like, yeah, it's gone a bit Police Squad by then. I watched a film that I'm assuming Tyler will have loved called City of Industry. Mid-90s neo-noir. Stephen Dorff's in it. Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, that one's right up. You haven't heard of it?
Famke Janssen.
Oh,
I don't
man.
think I've seen it, actually.
Wow. It was all right. Not great. The problem is, though, I watched it on Prime. It was my Prime Video choice, and it seemed to... I think it was a little bit off with the sync of the audio and the I think Prime, they don't always take the best care with their subtitling. I'm happy when there are subtitles. And I had them on because the audio seemed to be a bit off, so I was trying to figure that out. So that affected my experience slightly. But Timothy Hutton is in a small role. He's not great. Stephen Dorff's pretty good in this for what he has to do. Harvey Keitel, this is definitely one of the movies he was making while, try to make all that coin he could. Well, he was, a name after Tarantino. Put him back up there for a while, I think. I don't want to denigrate Keitel too much, but he was cashing in on his cool, which is fine. But there are moments in this where he could have been just reprising exactly one of his speeches from Reservoir Dogs or a little bit from Pulp Fiction. There we go. And I didn't get to finish it. I was watching this morning Underworld USA, which had the exciting opening title of written, produced, and directed by Samuel Fuller. So that's always a good sign in my eyes. And I was kind of enjoying that. Last but not least, guys, I have to mention, watched a bit of TV that I convinced Vicky we should watch. And we're watching this 4-part doc called Chimp Crazy. I don't know. I'm assuming you would have had it over there at some point. I think it was an HBO doc series. But over here it's on, some other channel, a Sky channel or something. And it does exactly what the title suggests. It's from the makers of Tiger King, but there are people in there. They're just people blindly insisting that, these chimps are babies and they'll be friends for life, and ignoring the fact that an angry chimp can pull your arm off. And then you get some, different stories that are the horror tales. There's the famous story from a few years ago of the chimp that basically ripped a woman's face off, and she survived, but has almost no face. And there was another famous chimp that seemed to be given no quality of life, and that turned into a bad situation. It's appalling, and it's jaw-dropping, and it's fascinating, and it's mesmerizing, and I kind of recommend it. It's not often I watch a program with Vicky and the dramatic music is building, and she turns to me and she's like, "Oh no, she had sex with the chimp, didn't she?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think this person had sex with the chimp." And then Vicky's like, "She fucked a monkey." I'm like, "She didn't fuck the monkey." But even then, I'm like, did anyone have sex with a monkey? And I had to wait until the end of the episode. Spoilers, I don't think there was any monkey sex. But I've not finished the 4-parter yet, so you never know.
I mean, did you watch episode 3 yet?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's it.
She did keep him overnight in a hotel, so I'm just saying.
It was because there was that young woman who was being interviewed for our tale, and they seemed to be interviewing her while she was sitting on a sex swing, which initially we thought was part of some room set up for any visiting monkeys, and then we realised no, that was just a choice made to sit this woman on what could be her sex swing and tell a story about a monkey. And that's when Vicky turned to me and was like, "She had sex with the chimp." I'm like, "I don't think she did, but I don't know." Anyway, that's all of that. All of that monkey nastiness ends my week.
We watched the 1995 satirical black comedy film To Die For, and the 2021 American science fiction adventure rom-com Strawberry Mansion. Hey, Tyler?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to pick a movie and tell us about it?
You know what? I would love to. And I would love to pick Strawberry Mansion first, just to get it out of the way. I guess it's about a future where the government records dreams and like taxes them. A dream auditor gets caught up in the dreams of an aging eccentric. I guess that kind of explains it. Um, I'm gonna do this a bit differently. I'm gonna read my notes in the same nonsensical way this quirky bullshit movie presented itself. Um, Note one: these directors definitely have a real doll with Wes Anderson's face taped to it, and I guarantee they've ejaculated on at least one copy of the Royal Tenenbaums on Criterion. Note two: these directors definitely pretend to shop at Goodwill, wearing vintage scarves, dad hats, and flannel, and eating a scone from Whole Foods while the crumbs dribble in their unkempt hipster beards. Note three: I hate this fucking movie. Why won't it end? Note four: I checked the timer. There's only 12 minutes left. Thank fuck. And that's my last note. Seriously though, this movie is fucking fake, hipster, desperate to be quirky garbage, half-baked, try-hard bullshit, shot like a Blind Melon music video, tedious, oversaturated color grading, wannabe Michel Gondry, Wes Anderson trash, terribly paced, ugly 10-minute short film idea stretched to 90 minutes. I can't even appreciate it on a technical level because I think it looks hideous. This is a hideous looking movie. Cast is shit. And you know what's crazy? One of the directors, the guy Kentucker, I don't even like saying that name, but Kentucker, he's actually really good in a movie called Felt. I love Felt, and y'all should check it out. Kevin, you might hate it because it's the director of Toad Road, but Felt is awesome, and he's really good in it too. This movie fucking sucks though. It's a waste of time, and I apologize to hundreds of beavers for calling it the worst movie of the year that we covered on the podcast because Strawberry Mansion has taken that title and gave it a huge facial. So yeah, this movie sucks. I hate it.
Wow, I love when Tyler gets angry. I do.
It's rare, but it happens.
It is. Well, when you do, there's a righteous fury to it.
It is. It comes out mean-spirited, but it's okay.
Do you want to go, Kevin, or shall I?
I figured you'd go, and then I'll be finishing and then discussing yours after.
Yeah, that works. That works perfectly. Craig, we let Craig pick this week because to celebrate his love and his upcoming nuptials, and he picked this. And this, okay, I'm gonna get this out of the way. There are things I respect about this. I respect a lot of the effects they did. They did pretty well for having no money. The lo-fi aesthetic, some of the 8-bit stuff, the puppets, I enjoyed. I enjoy quirk. What I don't enjoy is lazy. And the problem with this movie is it's lazy. It doesn't establish its characters or its world well. So it just wants you to be like, oh, look, they're making puppy eyes. So they're in love now. And I love love. But it doesn't really land and it doesn't work because it's not really dream logic and it's not really surreal enough. And it's mostly just a guy being a dipshit watching someone's dreams. And those dreams aren't interesting. They don't say anything. They have nothing to say, but it wants you to put your own, read into it so deeply that you can convince yourself that it's making a poignant theme. But it's not. It is just hitting the buttons just enough to try to force the audience into filling in the blanks for it. And that I cannot stand. The cast is not good. I haven't seen director and star Kentucker Audley in anything else, so I can't say if he's better in things, but he is not good in this. Reed Birney is not good. Grace Glowski she's attractive, but she is like, there's no personality there. And that's the problem. At no point do you feel a connection and a kinship to these people. It's exactly what Tyler said. Somebody watched a lot of Wes Anderson films, jerked off, went, how do I do that cheap as shit? And then just copied without heart, without the thought, without the craftsmanship or the intention. And that's the problem with it. I think maybe if it was given more time, or if they had something to actually say about any of the themes they bring up, but they don't. They just point at things and go, look, isn't this terrible? Why won't someone do something? And that's the problem. I did love the frog waiter head piece, though. I adored that. But the rest, it's there. You can do better. You can do so much better. And there's so many other things that cover the same topics better. And that's the problem. I just don't see what the point of this movie is, or why it was 91 minutes.
Didn't it feel a lot like The Science of Sleep, the Michel Gondry one?
Yeah, it did. It
thought it did.
Really did.
I thought it did.
Really, it was like Science of Sleep if, Wes Anderson murdered the fucking editor and then kind of went buck wild with whatever footage he could get his hands on.
Made by Full Sail students.
Yeah, I'll give the directors another try, but go to any LA-based Starbucks and meet a screenwriter because you fucking need it. And it's a shame. It's a shame because they were obviously convinced they were making some kind of soulful, odd trip, and it's not. It's just. It's heartless, and that's the problem. There's nothing there. There's no love. There's no feeling. It's just, hey, look at these things we took from other movies. Ha ha.
Yeah, I am in general agreement with both of you here. And I said before recording a few things that I'm not going to repeat and tie myself up in, but I will just say to people that Craig had mentioned this film to me before when I'd read a book called Jonathan Abernathy, You Are Kind. I highly recommend that book. I thought it was great. I think it has some crossover points, but is also a very different experience. This just doesn't work, and it's mainly because of I would say it's mainly because of the characters. I do get that the dream logic doesn't quite work, but I think they do try and throw enough around that's enjoyably random that they're trying on a fairly limited budget, fairly limited resources. They're trying to do the dream thing as well as they can. I think sometimes that works, but they can't make it consistently great. But if this had better characters at the heart of it, like the main guy Preble, who's played by the co-writer, co-director Kentucker Audley, he's nothing. Even when we see him in a dream being sort of weirded by the guy Buddy, who I thought was quite funny, played by Linus Phillips. He was all right, but like Buddy's the more interesting character of those two.
Well, but the problem is they don't even that that reveals. Well, first off, it's obvious, but when it reveals, it should be I should feel something, and I'm just like, yeah, duh, no fucking shit, Preble, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, it's I just didn't care about any of them, and then even though you are shown some real world danger and stakes that are affecting or filtering through to the dream world, there's still nothing to care about because of the characters, but also because you are spending most of the movie in the dream state, so you don't really get any feeling of urgency or danger, despite them trying to have that there. It doesn't work. So they're not up to the task. The co-directors and co-writers, Audley and Albert Birney, they can't make it work. I quite like the scenes with Penny Fuller, who plays Bella. I thought she was quite good. But as Dave mentioned, the other version of Bella. How did you pronounce her name, Dave? Because I'm not going to change it.
I don't even remember.
Grace Glowicki.
Glowicki, yeah, that's what I went with.
Glowicki, yeah. Yeah, she was there, but again, there was no, like, you're kind of shown or told there's some connection between them, but you don't really feel it. There's no actual feeling to this, and I think that's the real loss. Like, I know Tyler would have hated this either way. I'm thinking because of the aesthetic throughout, but if they'd actually matched that with some real heart instead of it feeling like they were preoccupied wanting to be cutesy, then it could have worked, and it could have worked well. You know, because for me, although Craig had mentioned this and I kept forgetting to check it out, it was always one I was interested in. I liked the idea of the premise, and I wondered how it was going to be executed and what potential it would have. It's nothing. It squanders all of that, and I don't think you mentioned it just now, Dave, but in chat you'd said about how it doesn't even seem to make sense with the actual auditing part.
Yeah, no, I
Of
mean,
the
yeah,
troops.
because it's like they just put random numbers in
Yeah,
the tag, and it's like, okay, but then why should? Because they show it. It's like 5 minutes. We have a scene of him auditing things, and it's like, well, but it doesn't mean anything.
no, exactly. So if you're going to have a film that is all about dream logic and this surrealism, that's fine. But when you have the reality that it's grounded in, you kind of have to inform that. You have to make that the plausible part, if that's the way you're doing it, and then things can be mirrored and you can know what's going on. Or you can do something, wholly surreal and illogical, and that's fine as well, but that's a different thing. Or something completely grounded. If you're going between the two, you need to have the courage of your convictions with each sort of side of the seesaw, as it were, because one will sort of show up the other. And yeah, they don't do that. I mean, that just doesn't work. And it feels like they tried to come up with a minimal plot that I figured would give them enough sort of rope to play with, whereas effectively they just end up slightly hanging themselves with it. But having said that, I think many other people agree with Craig and love this. So either they're completely wrong or we're completely wrong this week. I think it's them.
Oh, it's definitely them. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. Personal opinion is perfectly valid. I mean, you're still wrong, but it's valid.
If we say things that were completely wrong, then we would be, hidden away by Google and such, and that just doesn't happen to us.
No, I mean, look, we're so up in that Google algorithm, baby.
I just want to say I don't hate everything with a quirky aesthetic. Like I said, I like Napoleon Dynamite. I think that movie's hilarious. I love The Silence of Sleep, the Michel Gondry movie. I like them when they're done well and they have characters, but that's just me. I don't think Strawberry Mansion had shit characters and nothing you could just latch onto. But Silence of Sleep did. So if you like that movie, maybe check it out. You might like this. I don't know. I could never recommend it to anybody.
I think generally, I know you have exceptions that work for you, but I think generally, if I'm recommending a movie for you, if one of the main characters spends at least 5 minutes in some kind of jacket with elbow patches,
yes,
there's a chance that you're not going to like it.
Oh no, that's
100%.
There's a good guarantee there. I don't seek out these movies. If I watch them, I I didn't seek like when Napoleon Dynamite came out back in the day. I did not want to see it, but I ended up watching that. I thought that was kind of cute. But I don't seek out these movies on my own. If I'm forced, I'll watch them. But
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of pretty surreal low budget films over the last like 4 or 5 years. I mean, there's The Grass is Greener, which is better, and
Yeah, I love
Silvio,
that. Yep.
which is better, and Landscape, which is better. Just I Saw the Devil was just in the theater. It's better. Dream Scenario. Now that is like the same shit but good. Although I think that's older. That's no,
What's
Is that the
that's
Nick- is that the
newer.
Nick
I
I
think
Cage
saw?
it's 2023.
What's I
That's
Saw
a
the
Nick-
Devil?
That's a Nick
Yeah.
Cage one, right? Dream
Yeah,
Scenario?
that is
Okay.
the Nick Cage one. They had a
haven't seen
little bit
that
more
one.
money. But what else? Inspector Ike. I mean, there's like a ton of movies that cover the same. Christmas Again, or even Hundreds of Beavers that cover the same shit and do it better. So
Wasn't
much
I Saw the
better.
Devil the Korean filler? Are you confusing me, Dave?
No, I Saw the Devil's a Korean movie. What were you talking about? I'm so confused now. I don't think I heard you.
I Saw the Devil. Sorry.
No, that's something else. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you properly, and we
Oh.
confused each other.
I misheard you.
Yeah.
This is sort of old people do a podcast.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well, that's me.
It's not our fault that they make middle-aged men legally required to do a podcast. It's the government.
Before I forget, though, I will say I also I did really like the Mousehead sailors. I just thought that
those were good.
Yeah, and just the character not being too phased by that in a way, like them just eventually getting on with their voyage was quite a good part of it. Although I've been critical of this, and I am critical of it, it's not something that I would 100% hate. That's in a way makes it more frustrating. There are good bits in there, but it needed to be held together stronger, I think.
Yeah, no, I'll watch what the directors do next. They just need a better screenplay. Just because you're directing something doesn't mean you can write, and that's been a recurring theme, honestly, in independent films we've watched.
And Dave this week gave us To Die For. Moving on to that one, a film that he'd given us before and then changed his mind because he's a fickle fecker. But this time he stuck with it and gave us To Die For. Directed by Gus Van Sant, written by Buck Henry, based on a book by Joyce Maynard. Was the book about the true story, or was the book based on the true story? Because I know there's a true story at the heart of this somewhere.
Well, it's inspired by a true story, but they're not,
Right.
It's not like, you can't really say, oh, it's the true story. I mean, it's not a true story.
Right.
It's inspired by the case of Pamela Smart, which, I can go into now or I can go into later.
Go into later. I'll just go on with my views on this, with my ignorance of the main situation anyway. Not shouting my ignorance from the rooftops, but I never knew enough about the inciting incident, as it were. I just knew that this was, inspired by something or based on something. Anyway, To Die For is the story of Suzanne Stone, played by Nicole Kidman, who is a very ambitious young woman. She is married to Larry, played by Matt Dillon. She wants to just get ahead, be a shining star in the community, which she is aiming to do by working for the local TV station, mainly on their weather reports, but she's trying to put together a documentary which gets her in the company of some youngsters. Jimmy Emmett, played by Joaquin Phoenix, is quite besotted with her. Russell Hines, played by Casey Affleck, stretching himself by playing a slightly sleazy douchebag. And Lydia Mertz, played by Alison Folland, who's a young girl who looks up to Kidman's character. And they eventually plan to help Suzanne become a single woman in a radical way. That is what they want to do. I really like To Die For. I've not seen it for years, Dave. I don't have the shiny, lovely Criterion that you guys do.
Oh, it's so pretty.
despite all my posts, it's due. What I want to say about this before I forget as well is Gus Van Sant movies can be hit or miss for me, but he's got like usually more hits than I remember. I like watching his work, and To Die For, I always remember it's a Gus Van Sant movie, right? If you ask me who directed To Die For, I will tell you Gus Van Sant. When I start watching To Die For, every time, I'm not the only one thinking it's the John Waters movie that John Waters didn't make, right?
No, you're not.
Just
Not the only one.
He's he's got he's just got it so nailed down well with the dark comedy and the camp and the way it weaves around is just wonderful. I mean, Kidman is superb. It's a really great role for her. She does fantastic in it. Dylan is I kind of want to praise him as just being like, he doesn't seem to be a bad guy. I can't remember if there's anything shown that puts him in any bad light whatsoever. He's maybe not, the most I don't know, like progressive or far-reaching guy, but he wants a nice life with his nice wife and the family business and all that.
Yeah, I mean, his sin is wanting her to just be his wife and working at the restaurant doing media stuff.
And maybe have a child or two. Oh, we should have kids, kind of thing. But he's he plays it well. He's not the sitting there, scratching his navel, drinking a couple of beers every evening type. But he's slightly in that vein. But he's just a decent enough, unassuming guy, and he works well in that role because I would say it's one of the least roles in the film. And it's good that Dylan is in there and has some Dylan charm to it. Phoenix is great. I think he's really good here. And Alison Folland is superb. I love her performance here. And I was going to say it's a shame that I didn't see her in much else, but I think that's my fault because she certainly kept acting, and she's been in stuff. I can't recall if she's been in much else that I've seen, but I did look her up, and it was a shame because she's in The Happening and credited as woman reading on bench with hairpin. That feels like a fall. That feels like a fall from grace.
Well, never mind. I got thoughts about that'll wait also.
And Ileana Douglas is here, and she's wonderful. She plays Larry's sister. She's also doing quite a bit of ice skating. I forgot to look up how much or how well she could ice skate, or whether that was done with a double.
She could ice skate. She did some of the ice skating, not all of the ice skating.
Excellent. It's good to know. But
she wanted to do all, but she couldn't do it for 3 hours like they needed, so they just switch out at some point.
She's great in this. Again, she doesn't get much screen time actually, but what she does is always impactful. But it's just a stacked cast. Dan Hedaya, who always looks like he's still thinking about the last answer he needs for the crossword puzzle he started in the morning. That's Dan Hedaya's main expression. And it's wonderful as part of who he is, but that's him. I think he's great. Wayne Knight is in here as the sort of main guy at the little TV station, and Kurtwood Smith is the father of Kidman's character. The mother's played by Holland Taylor. I just think they're all pretty great. They're all perfectly cast. I like how the unfolding events are presented. There is a framing device that allows for a layer of artifice and perhaps varying levels of reliability in the narration in a way. And yeah, it's just it's pretty flawless. The only things that I would pick at are the are really the levels of, it's not gullibility that I'm looking for. It's not ignorance. It's a sort of blinkered way the teens are with Kidman's character. I know she's also dazzling them as an adult who's been whoever smaller presence, but on a TV screen and just, you know, promising things that won't necessarily pan out. But it still feels a bit difficult to believe once or twice, especially when like Lydia is asked to walk the dog. That bit always feels a little bit extra dopey to me for how they are. But maybe I'm just forgetting how dopey I was as a teen. That's me. I'm glad we finally got around to it, Dave. It is one well worth celebrating. And even just putting this on Instagram saying kind of any fans general comment that I might say had quite a few people rushing to declare their love for it.
Yeah, before I forget, Foland, look up Things Behind the Sun and All Over Me. I haven't seen All Over Me in a while, but she's really good in both, at least to my memory. You know.
Okay.
To Die For is one of my absolute favorite Gus Van Sant movies, with one of my favorite Nicole Kidman performances to date. This movie is fucking great, and I love it dearly. Kidman's on-screen presence is fucking magnetic here. She's never been better. I love her in this. I've always liked Nicole Kidman a lot, but she just fucking shines in this movie. She's excellent. Rest of the cast is really good too. Joaquin Phoenix is always great. Matt Dillon. I actually really like Casey Affleck in this. He plays that part really well. Elena Douglas. This cast is totally stacked with talent, and everybody just brings it. Script is great. 90s was a decade that always took a satirical approach to America's like obsession with media and pop culture, and I think this one does it best. This and Natural Born Killers, they go hand in hand for me. It's a tie between those two for sure. I love both those films. Very different movies, obviously, but both kind of took that satirical approach to media and media obsession and pop culture. I love how it always tiptoes that line of being super dark, but always has this like wonderful pitch black sense of humor. Kevin is totally right with his John Water comparison. I also had that as one of my notes. You can tell Van Sant definitely is a fan of John Waters. It doesn't have like it's not the gross out John Waters, but I can see John Waters making this as one of his like mainstream films in the 90s for sure. But dark comedy is usually hard to pull off for the most part, but it's so well done here. I love the way the plot's structured. This is just a total 90s classic. Van Sant had almost a near perfect run from 89 to 2000. And yes, I'm even including the fucking Psycho remake in that because that remake is great. I said it and I stand by it. One day we'll cover it, I hope. But yeah, I love Van Sant, and I think this is one of his very best. And Kevin, get that Criterion. It's fucking gorgeous.
Did you not already make us watch a Van Sant Psycho?
No,
I haven't.
He hasn't.
Oh, wow.
He's threatened it. We watched which one is it? We did Drugstore Cowboy and My Own Private Idaho so far.
Yes, two movies that I've hardcore praised.
Yeah.
So.
I kind of do want that Criterion, but like Vicky may kill me with the amount of postage due next week.
Oh, it's and the features on it, man. It is such a good disc.
Dave, I may not be here. I may be.
Yeah, ending. I know. You'll be dead, but you know, at least as the light is fading from your eyes, you can feel justified in having made the right choice.
That's fair.
Yeah, I love To Die For. Like this has long been on my list, but I don't think it got a Blu-ray release before the Criterion. It got like one DVD, which is kind of mediocre. So I've been waiting for something good before I picked it, and then it came, and I picked it. Like everybody has said, the cast is great. The screenplay by Buck Henry is fantastic. The book by Joyce Maynard is a solid read if you come across it. The score by Danny Elfman is great. Nobody mentioned, but did you guys recognize who the man at the lake in the end is, right?
Oh yeah, Cronenberg.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cronenberg. I never noticed it. Like, I've seen this movie like a dozen times and it just never clicked. And this time I was like, oh, fuck, it's Cronenberg.
He's really good in that role.
Well, I think
there's a slight extra creepiness because it's Cronenberg.
I think it's the talking in the Italian at the end where I just my brain just will not accept Canadians speaking in Italian. I'm sorry, Canada. I just can't do it. Anyway, he's excellent. The whole cast is excellent. George Segal is excellent in his cameo. Yeah, like Dylan is great. I adore Ileana Douglas. Alison Folland she was a wonderful talent, and I'm sure there are terrible Hollywood reasons why she didn't have a better career, unlike both Affleck and Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is excellent. The accent, the cleft lip, like he becomes another person in it. He's excellent. Matt Dillon is, Matt Dillon. Who doesn't love Matt Dillon? I once forced my younger sister to listen to all of On the Road as read by Matt Dillon during a long road trip. She didn't speak to me for a month afterwards. But it was fucking wonderful. And if Matt Dillon hears this, it was fucking wonderful. Dan Hedaya is great. Maria Tucci is Kidman's character's mother. She's excellent. Wayne Knight is good. Kurtwood Smith is always good. Holland Taylor is Suzanne's mother. Maria Tucci is, Larry's mom. I'm sorry. It's been a long week and I brain farted. They're excellent in their small roles. The scenes, I absolutely love some of this stuff. The use of media and talking heads. I love the reveal of who Suzanne's talking to at the end. That is, like, it's a brilliant and it's a perfect take on this character. Suzanne is such an interesting character because she's very much a psychotic narcissist, but she's not the brightest bulb in the box, and they really go out of their way to use that to both undercut her and humanize her at the same time. And it's masterful. This is probably my second favorite Van Sant film. I still think I got to give My Own Private Idaho the edge. But it's excellent. I'm glad we finally covered it. I wish I had more to say about it, but the truth is, I think this is a movie that is not watched enough these days, and anything I say will be spoilery. So I want to instead encourage people to go see it. It's fantastic. It's wonderfully shot. It's smart. It's incredibly acted. Apparently Kidman had to hunt down Van Sant herself to get this made. Because when she came over from Australia, she was only given these big budget studio films, and she was like, I want to make a smaller, quirky thriller with Gus Van Sant. That's what happened. And it's excellent. Casey Affleck's a little wasted, but his character's just kind of there. It's a really good one that's still pretty savage at its targets today.
Yeah, can I say something at the risk of upsetting you, Dave?
Always.
Like this is great, and I wouldn't change anything about this, and there's no reason to touch it. I couldn't help thinking by the time it got to the end, it refreshed my memory of the whole thing, was wonderful, and I'm surprised they haven't tried to rework this, or maybe they have and I haven't thought about it, for a remake. Not a direct remake, but you know what I mean, using that kind of template, because we've had things with internet people. We've had a look at internet celebrity and the dangers of obsession, whether it's Ingrid Goes West or different things, and I think it could be redone in an interesting, updated way.
I mean, there are reworkings of it. Mostly TV movies have reworked it a whole bunch. Anytime there's a true crime story that's relatively close to it. They remake it. I don't. I mean, there's a lot of TV movies that are pretty much just bad versions of To Die For.
Well, I mean, I'd specifically like a good version.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
Again,
I'd like a good version too. I'm just saying generally. Yeah, it's. Oh, the real story, since you mentioned it. It's inspired by the case of Pamela Smart. And Pamela Smart in 1990, she was working on an anti-drug volunteer program with, I think he was a senior, maybe a sophomore in high school. And they started an affair. And then she befriended his female friend and got them to kill her husband for no reason except she was just kind of, done with him. And that's what inspired it. But in the real case, Pamela Smart is currently imprisoned for life in New York, maybe somewhere else. She was found guilty of accomplice of first degree, conspiracy to commit murder, and witness tampering. She wasn't working at the news station that I know of, but certain bits like getting a wire. Using a wire on her with the girl that was involved actually happened. Difference is the real woman incriminated the shit out of herself on the wire. But yeah, it's a good movie. It's an interesting story. It's based on the book. Is pretty good if you see it in the wild. Just go by the Criterion. I mean, the time is coming of there's another 50% off in November. So, go buy the Criterion soon. Do it. Do yourself a favor. It's really good. You will not regret it. It is time to pick one. I think it's for me, it's To Die For.
It's definitely To Die For.
Yeah, I think it's fairly obvious. To Die For.
Yeah, this was kind of a given. There was not much. There's not much of a fight. Sorry, Craig. Congratulations, anyway. Just next time pick a movie with heart, you son of a bitch. Next week, we got normal movies coming from Kevin and Tyler, and also our special for this month will be terrible American remakes of good international films. And I believe Tyler has a pick for that. So if you guys could, Kevin, if you could give us your pick for next week, and Tyler, if you could give us both, that would be awesome.
All right. You want me to go first? You want to go, Kevin?
I forgot it was me to pick, so I've literally just looked at
Tyler,
my shelf
please,
and no, I've got one. We will be watching The Conversation.
All right. So next week we're watching a rape revenge movie about a woman exacting revenge on evil bang bus style porn producers, and it's called Deeper: The Retribution of Beth. And for the special, okay, I don't personally think this movie is that bad. It's not well received, I guess. I don't think it's well received, but I think it still fits the criteria. I'm going with City of Angels, the 1998 Nick Cage, Meg Ryan romance.
I mean, have you ever seen the original film?
I have not, actually. I'm going to watch it this week, though.
Okay.
I don't know if that's considered terrible, but I remember that movie not being that well received.
I mean, I don't think it's nearly as good, but I was trying to remember if the original film was actually, because it's in English, so Wings of Desire is in English, so I wasn't sure if we'd count it, but okay.
Is it? I mean, if not, like,
I
thought
I will totally count it. I mean, he's German. I think the original title was in German, so I mean, I'll totally count it.
And is it Peter Falk in the original?
Peter
as
Falk
well?
is in the original, yeah.
Is in there, yeah.
Yeah.
I rate the original highly, Tyler. So
Me too. And
I've
the
not
sequel.
seen the remake yet.
A sequel's really good too.
I'm gonna watch both this week. I honestly I didn't want to pick something outright terrible because then I would have to watch it. So
Yeah, no, that makes sense. The sequel has Willem Dafoe. It is worth looking up.
all right. We're on Instagram, Raiders_of_the_podcast. We're on Facebook, where I sometimes remember to post stuff on Wednesday. I remember this week. We have a YouTube channel where you can like, subscribe, and comment on Kevin's awesome videos weekly. And you can always email us at raiderspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, they also can get in touch with us on our brand new Discord, which that's been on the list for something to do for a while, and now it exists. You can find a link on our Facebook page. As always, thanks for joining me, guys. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you next week.